Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me your ears. Today, I want to talk about virtual engagement. I'm on this virtual engagement thing because as we're going through this new shift in selling, getting online, conversating with people online, we have to be more effective. So in this Sales Influence Podcast, I want to talk about how do you front load your presentation. Now, I want to give you a formula. And this formula is something I'd like you to consider in terms of how do you structure a presentation? We know that attention spans during a virtual presentation are getting shorter. They just are. And so fatigue is setting in early in a virtual presentation. Also, people are multitasking and doing other things, so we really need to be focused. When we get on a phone or on a phone call, video phone call with somebody, we need to focus on what we're going to say, how we're going to say it, and really get to the meat of what we want to communicate. So, because they have so many distractions, let's get to it. Here's a formula, the 5 by 5 by 5 rule of presenting. Yep, I made that up because it's a good thing. I want you to practice the 5 by 5 by 5. And here's what I want you to do. In this 5 by 5 by 5 presentation, I want you to take the first minute to really define the problem for the client. Really define the problem. Mr. Client, here's the problem. Generate your insight, provoke some thought. Here is what's happening in the market. Within the first 5 minutes, you're there. You're teeing up the pain and the problem. Then take the next 5 minutes to really talk about how your solution can help that company solve those problems that you just identified in the first 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, the solution stage, let's call that the second part. In the solution phase, I really want you to focus in on solving their problem, demonstrating how you can do it, but being very focused in how much you show them. You got 5 minutes, which means you got to get to the point and you got to stay focused. And in the last 5 minutes, you move into making a case for your solution and then tie it with a call to action. So the last 5 minutes is all about here's the case we're making and here's the call to action. The call to action may be something like let's set up a demo, let's do a field trial. Whatever your call to action is, have that defined. So let's go through it again. First 5 minutes in this 5 by 5 by 5 is let's really define the problem. Mr. Customer, here's what we know you're going through. Here's what's impacting your revenue, your costs, your market share, so forth and so on. Second 5 minutes. Here's the solution we're proposing. And again, you're going to be very focused into what they're needing, and you're going to demonstrate, let's say, case studies and things of that nature. And then as you move into the last 5 minutes, you're going to close out with making the case of why they should move forward, and there has to be a strong call to action. Keep in mind, as you're doing this presentation, as you're putting this together, people want to know why should they change, why should they do it now, and why your solution. Keep that in mind, very important. Why change? Why now? Why your solution? That's what the customer's thinking. So 15 minutes may not sound like a lot of time, but given today's market, again, attention spans are getting shorter, so therefore you're going to have that 30-minute presentation down, squeezing it down to 15. And again, if you practice that 15 minutes, it'll be crisp. 5 on problem, 5 on a solution, and 5 on the case making and call to action. Let me know what you think. I think this will be more effective and you're going to get to the point. I've noticed something and I just want to share this with you. After the 15-minute mark, some say the 17-minute mark, but I started noticing after the 15-minute mark, the attention span really starts to drift. That's why it's essential that this 15-minute 5 by 5 by 5 presentation of yours has to be defined and kept short. Now, the call to action may be to actually do, let's say, a 1 hour or a 2 hour presentation where you can really fully demonstrate. So again, you can kind of use this as an in-between step. So 5 by 5 by 5, find their problem, propose your solution, make your case, give them a call to action, and watch the difference in the attention you're going to grab from them. And I think you'll be surprised at how much the client's going to thank you for getting to the point, getting to the problem, and actually making a suggestion. And that is it for the Sales Influence Podcast. Leave me some feedback on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. You know the deal. And if you haven't checked out the Sales Velocity Academy, you know where to go. SalesVelocityAcademy.com. If you want to increase your speed to selling, that's where you go. Lastly, I want to thank you. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you use the 5 by 5 by 5, and you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.